could tell though that Shedeur Sanders hasn't learned how to step up into the pocket since the Rams debacle. And
Sanders rolling right. Now coming back the other way, steps up, and he's got the first down.
this is why he has sat the entire year, people. He is no good. He is not prepared to play a game in the NFL. The only reason why he got us down to the 20 at the end of the game is because they was playing back and wasn't bringing the heat at him.
The 35-yard line, Sanders on first down. Njoku is wide open. Instead, he goes deep to Fenton.
I hope this whole thing, Shedeur thing, is done. Done.
I'm going to say it like this. And we keep it real in the speakeasy. I apologize if I hurt your feelings. If you want somebody to lie to you, go watch another show. Shedeur did what backup quarterbacks do when they come into a football game. He struggled in a mighty way. Shedeur didn't come into this game and overly impress us.
That's your opinion. Mm-hmm. But he's a rookie. Tell me some rookie quarterbacks that do well in their first start. Now think about that. Now tell me some rookies that do well in their first start and they're not the starter. Mm-hmm. Tell me though. Yeah. So you can grade him as a backup. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to grade him as a rookie that is making his first start and he didn't even start the game. Let that sit in there. Pause.
Shedeur comes in. They say it on the broadcast. Dillon's being evaluated for a concussion. Shedeur has his helmet on. Those first two passes, I got texts from people in the stadium saying it was like Jesus just rose. That's how loud the stadium erupted.
Loving life right now with Shedeur on the field.
Additionally, Shedeur Sanders was taking action when he was given the chance.
Things happen.
Now coming back the other way, steps up, and he's got the first down. Shedeur Sanders moving the chains for the Browns. The 35-yard line, Sanders on first down. Njoku is wide open. Instead, he goes deep to Fenton. Third down and 12. Sanders steps up. Nobody there. He'll just run it, and he runs.
And, of course, Shedeur Sanders wasn't perfect.
It's different when it's different body types going out there, different way how people get out of routes. Mm-hmm. Like, what I seen on the pick initially was I see his hips turn. So I'm like, okay, we're going to be able to get out there. But at the same time, playing quarterback is extremely hard. So it's like, I like knowing every detail about my receivers. I like knowing the small things, what they're good at, what they're not good at. It's like so many details that helps me play confident with those guys. And I know, we at the bottom right now. This performance, everything, it will never be like this. But, I'm dedicated to being able to get those opportunities with those guys to have a relationship, I got a relationship with all the hungry dogs, though. We like clockwork out there, but you just got to see. You just got to see everything a little bit more, Like them come out routes, them do all different types of stuff.
Don't be discouraged from one drive or two drives. It's a good football team over there. So just trying to keep him keep his confidence high, and keep on chasing that standard which he set. And we're gonna continue to support him. He spoke after the game, and he wanted to pin it on himself and his performance, but we're not gonna allow him to do that. It's a team game, so we're all in this together.
You said he addressed the entire team in the locker room after the game.
Were you disappointed in his first start?
He's a rookie.
Or his first game, actually.
Yeah, he's a rookie, man. He's a rookie.
But he's special.
Yeah, but Acho, this is his first game starting, though. Imagine when you was a rookie, your first game starting. I was super nervous, right? And then
he didn't even start for clarity yet.
Yeah, your debut game.
First game playing.
And he's not even starting this game. Yeah. So, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that.
He comes into the game against the Ravens team that's in a gotta-have-it type situation.
And they desperate and all that.
In the second half
Come
against
on now.
Multiple All-Pros on the defense.
But this game really came down to a couple of plays.
What was he touted for? His accuracy. When you have a chance to make a play, you have to make it. You have to. Period. End of story. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if we're talking about Shedeur Sanders. I don't care if we're talking about Dillon Gabriel. I don't care if we're talking about Joe freaking Burrow, okay? If you have a guy that wide open in the end zone, you have to make the play. Reps or not, you have to make the play.
And this is the throw he's talking about right here.
Sanders, pressure coming, spins away, keeps it alive, throwing to the end zone, and it's incomplete.
Shedeur Sanders is capable of making that pass. Shedeur Sanders is gonna make that throw. However, a lot of folks are acting as though he had plenty of time to set his feet and was simply tossing it to a wide open receiver. And that is completely untrue. A 300-pound lineman is approaching you. Since there is still 1 minute remaining in the game and it is 2nd and 5, it is preferable to produce a turnover in such a circumstance. Without a doubt, Shedeur would have made that throw if he had had a bit more time to settle in. And then the last play decided whether or not any quarterback on that field would win. It was an expertly executed back shoulder ball to a receiver who had probably never been thrown to before. Additionally, the defense made a fantastic play. However, I will admit that they would have persevered if it had been a Jamar Chase or a Mike Evans. They would have returned to the ball. They would have persevered to try to make the play, which would have resulted in either a pass interference or a touchdown. Therefore, it is the distinction that employees make.
I'm not big on excuses. You either get it done or you don't. But having played this game, having been a guy that's been in the situation that Shedeur, that didn't get a whole lot of reps, and when you don't get a whole lot of reps, it's hard to have confidence going into a game. I can just imagine playing the quarterback position and having to go in a game when you've taken no reps. I've never thrown to Jerry Jeudy. The only thing I've thrown to Jerry Jeudy is pat and go and warming up. I've never thrown to these guys. The centers never had snapped me the ball.
And so Therefore, if you weren't watching the game, the numbers don't really convey the whole picture of Shedeur's performance, since, for example, she took some sacks, but we got...
Do you know who led the country in college football last year? FBS in sacks taken.
It was Shedeur Sanders.
42. Do you know who led the country in sacks taken the year before, 2023?
Shedeur Sanders.
Took 52 sacks. Like, this is...
It's who he is.
It's who he is. It's not... I don't think it's suddenly going to get better, even with reps, even with more time. You're talking about a project in terms of getting this guy to play in a way where he's not making negative plays.
I don't care. If Tom Brady is back there, it doesn't matter to me. If you have Mahomes back there, it doesn't matter to me. For any quarterback, that's a sack every single day. In addition to having one of the weakest offensive lines, Cleveland lost 2 of its players yesterday due to injuries sustained during play. He is now playing with the worst offensive line in the league. They also have injuries on top of that. As I mentioned earlier, Dillon had been extremely enigmatic. Suddenly, Dillon Gabriel has a concussion that no one observed, and the offensive line is hurt. Now, let's add Shedeur Sanders to this offensive line with receivers he has never thrown to. Naturally, the next day, the media received the following. However, I want to quickly bring up Emmanuel Acho because he makes a point that I genuinely agree with.
Tell him what nobody else might tell him. If you, as a 5th-round pick, with the odds stacked against you, a head coach that's not leaning towards playing you, a lot of people who are rooting on your downfall, if you want to cut through Shedeur Sanders, you cannot afford to be average. Shady will give you grace. I will give you grace. Care Bear will give you grace. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to overcome all odds, you have to do the unthinkable and you have to do the impossible, which to some degree is going in with minimal reps with the ones and finding a way to succeed. Is it fair? No. Is it likely? No. Is it difficult? Absolutely. But do you have to find a way?
According to Emmanuel, Shedeur Sanders was selected in the 5th round because he was forced to attempt an impossible feat. Furthermore, you keep putting him in situations where it's the final preseason game, or like now where he's playing with offensive linemen who aren't even starters, which exacerbates the situation. Furthermore, I don't believe it's a coincidence.
Good question, Ocho. You played with Tom Brady. Do you think Tom Brady would allow some receiver that he didn't throw to during the course of the week to be out there on the field with him on Sunday?
Because he wouldn't trust you.
Thank you. Neither would Peyton Manning, neither would John Elway. Because if there's a chance that you're going to get your ass in the game, you best believe John Elway was going to see you run a dig, an end cut, an over route, a slant, a comeback, a stop, a smoke, a shake. He's going to see you do it in practice. And guess what? When it comes time to one-on-one, guess what? He's going to say, hey, no, don't worry, hey, T, let him get up there. I want to see what he can do. I've been with you for 7 years. I've been with
I know
you
what
for
you
8
can
years.
do.
But he's going to want to see what those guys can do, because if I got to go out there and battle with you on Sunday, I need to know I can trust you. I need to see some mannerism. Hey, you tell him, bro, let me know when you're going to break out. Bro, I got to know when you're going to break out. You just can't do that. To ask Shedeur to get in a game in which he has not taken any snaps from the center, he hasn't thrown to Judy, he hasn't thrown to Hannon, he hasn't thrown to any of those guys, and expect him to work a miracle. We're not making excuses. But look, as time progresses, he getting more and more time, we'll be able to fairly grade him on his performance. But I think it's unfair to give him a grade. If I were to give him a grade, I would say incomplete. Incomplete.
Hey, listen. Hey, hold on.
We ask him to take a test. We ask him
without
to take a test
without studying. Without studying.